use it. You know.
You're painting. We're going to see a few here.
Okay.
How long have you been painting?
Probably again, I guess it all started bubbling up to play music and sing and paint all around the same time. Around about 8 years old, I guess I started taking it seriously. When I was around 18 or 19, I took it more seriously. And it's gone through ups and downs, you know, zeniths and
sometimes you...
Well, funnily enough, when music starts to decline in my interest, well, there are moments when you really feel like you haven't got it, that you've got nothing really to express, that it's going wrong, you've lost the plot. At those times, I found that painting has really sort of taken over, and I've produced an awful lot during that time. But they keep balancing each other around. I used to find that they would balance each other very well.
So when one's down, one is up.
Yeah, well, I had a way of working through musical problems by painting them out at one time, and that seems to have disappeared over the years. But
you've lost that ability?
Yeah. For one reason or another, that seems to have changed now.
All right, let's take a look at some of them, and then we'll come back. These are the kinds of images that have been downloaded. These have been, in fact, downloaded by our group here from your website, www.bowieart.com. Okay, let's take a look at the first thing. What's that? Could this be Iggy Pop, huh?
It certainly could be Iggy Pop. That's Iggy Pop in 1976, as I saw him, when we were living in Berlin. We just moved. We both had fairly severe drug problems. And so, to rectify that, we moved to Berlin, the heroin capital of the world, which I guess in retrospect doesn't sound like a terribly sensible.
No, it doesn't sound very smart to me.
And that's a picture of Jim turning blue in his apartment in Berlin. That's a portrait of me turning into the Lion King.
This is 1995,
yes,
though.
Yeah. I was quite prescient with this because I knew that was going to be a musical.
Now, who influences you in your painting?
A lot of people influence me
yes, I know.
into not painting.
But we want to spare them the credit, don't we?
You know what? I have no loyalty to style whatsoever. I mean, one day I can be a complete minimalist and just paint a stick of wood white, and the next day I want to be quite florid and painterly and do something like the Iggy Pop painting.
But tell me the satisfaction of completing the painting where you're on, that you like a lot.
For me,
the satisfaction of that.
For me, to be quite frank, it's finishing it so I can get on to something else. I mean,
it's getting
weird.
Through it?
It's getting through it. It's the process. There's something in it that it just turns me to jelly. My heart and my mind just become. I can't explain it. It's a very strange feeling. It's not particularly pleasant either. I can't really say that I enjoy. I can't really say that I enjoy music or painting in quite that. I mean, it's not like sex or something which you can kind of really enjoy. There's something really. It's important. There's something volatile, emotive, and something that makes me really quite angry about going through the process of both making music and doing visual arts. And,
but visuals are.
But you know, I guess that's my problem.
No, but let's deal with your problem.
If you deal with my problem, I might not be able to do these things again. You see, I'm wary of analysis.
Yes, sir. But let me point out to you, knowing your history and knowing your family and knowing your background, you have always resisted any suggestion. I want you to look over this way when I'm talking to you.
I'm getting deeply into those eyes.
Yes, I know you are. You were getting into those eyes, weren't you? Now,
what's this about?
You have always resisted any notion that this creativity that you have comes from any sort of dysfunctional or madness out of family.
I think I've often wondered if actually being an artist in any way, any nature, is a kind of a sign of a certain kind of dysfunction, a social dysfunctionalism anyway. It's an extraordinary thing to want to do, to express yourself in such rarefied terms. I think it's a loony kind of thing to want to do. I think the saner and rational approach to life is to survive steadfastly and create a protective home and create a warm, loving environment for one's family and get food for them. That's about it. That's actually all. Anything else is extra. All culture is extra. Culture is, you know, that's, I guess it's a freebie. It's something that we only need to eat. We don't need particular color plates or particular height chairs or anything. I mean, anything will do, but we insist on making 1,000 different kinds of chairs and 15 different kinds of plates. It's unnecessary, and it's a sign of the irrational part of man, I think. We should just be content with picking nuts. Not mine, I might add.
You were so on. Let me see the next slide. The next thing is an acrylic and computer collage on canvas.
Yeah. Yeah, what I do, I take a...
This is 1997, and we're not...
Yeah, no, we're very recent now. This is what it looks like now. It's not so expressionist, is it? There's a kind of...
No, there's nothing.
There's, I think probably I'm getting influenced by what's called bad painting, which is in vogue. If you want to know about bad painting, ask Charles Saatchi, because he bought everyone in England.
He did?
Every single bad painting in England, I believe.
And did he put him in...
Except that one. But he hasn't bought that one.
Did he put him in storage somewhere?
He's probably sold him by now. You know Charles.
Yes. All right, next slide.
Yes, bad painting meets expressionism. You see, I can do them all in combinations.
Yeah.
You just tell me who you want.
All right.
And you'll get it.
Yes.
That's what this is.
It's
just
acrylic and
yeah, these are a series of paintings of people that come in and out of my life, and I just do very quick sketches and take photographs and Polaroids and produce very fast and, in a way, I think they're fairly accurate portraits.
And who might this be?
This is a trucker. No, there are not too many truckers in my life, Charlie, but this one obviously made a mark. It must have been the underhang.
Yes.
Would you call that an underhang?
Well,
it's not an overhang, is it?
No, well, I guess it could be an underhang.
So, yeah.
Next slide.
That was a rather, I guess...
Another self-portrait.
Yeah, but, these come from a series of 5 paintings that I did as a potential cover for an album called Outside, and this, in fact, was the one that I chose as the cover.
What happened to the album?
Not very much. It came out, and I think it was quite interesting. In fact, I'm supposed to be doing it as a theatre piece with Robert Wilson for the year 2000. So that's something that we're supposed to be meeting if either of us can find some kind of place where we're both in the same country at the same time.
Well, that would be right now, because he's in New York City.
Is he?
Yes.
I'd kill him for not phoning me.
Next slide.
Robert, wherever you are, contact me, will you? That's called Ancestor Figure.
This was inspired by a trip you went to South Africa in 1995 with Iman.
Yeah, we went over there just after freedom called, and one of the stories prevalent in Africa is that the ghosts of one's ancestors are white, and often when white man was first seen, he was thought of as being one of the ancestors of the tribe, and so I just took that and did a series of ancestor figures with kind of Ziggy Stardust haircuts.
See, here's the picture I get.
Yeah.
All of it never goes away. It's all still there, so you can reach back and bring it forward and push it back and step forward.
Did I show you this? This is Charlie has this. It's an original piece of merchandise from my Ziggy Stardust tour.
It's still that long.
We pressed 7 of these, and this is one of them.
Discovered. All right, next slide. We got 2 more, and maybe we're going to move on.
Yeah, I think we better. Well, that's obviously that's the female to the series.
Remember, America, if you want these, you can pick them up on the website.
Be my guest.
All right, next slide. This is Bill T. Jones. This is interesting.
Yeah, Bill T. Jones wanted, asked me if I would contribute some art to a benefit that he's throwing for dance, and this is one of 3 pieces, 3 lithographs that I did for him. Voila.
A couple of things about the music.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Let's Dance?
I think it became an incredible... I mean, it was an extraordinary acceptance that I had there. I'd never had anything quite like that before. Up until that time, I was quite happy being a sort of a major cult figure, in a way. You know, it was a nice place to be. It gave me a lot of freedom. I knew that I could depend on an audience that would virtually follow follow my whims, you know, and I could sort of do what I wanted. But the Let's Dance thing almost became a hindrance and obstacle. In fact, it did become a hindrance and obstacle to me, because I suddenly, my poles changed. Suddenly my focus was on, well, what are the audience's expectations of me now? And I started maybe writing for an audience, which I've never ever done before. And when I learned that that was for me a stupid thing to do, I got back into the way of writing for myself again, and I think balance has been, equilibrium has been arrived at now. I'm very happy with the way things are, both musically and the kind of simpatico that I have with my audience.
Everything got a lot of very good reviews.
It did indeed. I was so pleased about that, because it was an album that had no compromises on it whatsoever. It was very hard-nosed. I was just so pleased the way it was accepted. It was great. It was lovely. That's very nice when that happens.
When did you celebrate your 50th birthday?
Yeah.
When?
51 now, Charlie. 51 now.
Yeah, but you're not unhappy about that.
No,
I mean, you seem to have arrived at some acceptance. It might not have been as hard as 40 was for you.
No, but 40 was pretty difficult.
Because you didn't want to let go of the idea that you were still 20.
Everything was wrong. No, it's not. It was more about the fact that it was also my nadir as a musician. I was writing crap, and it just, nothing was going right artistically for me. I thought, you know, I thought I'd just tried. I was trying to write for audiences. It was right in the middle of that period, 1987. And it was just astonishingly awful time for me. And I think I just had to kind of it's almost about pulling yourself together and saying, hey, I've got maybe this finite length of time left. I really would like to enjoy it, so, you know, stop self-pity and stop all these kinds of things, and just pull yourself together and maybe make some decisions about what it is you really want out of life. And I think the first thing I wanted was each day to be really good, and so I had to go about changing everything in my life. Everything. And I've arrived now at a place that I hope that I'm not self-satisfied, but I'm certainly a fulfilled man. I'm fulfilled romantically, musically, artistically. I love my family. We're so close now. I have a terrific relationship with my son. I can't tell you how great. And so it's something I just want to keep on the front burner every day. I just want it to be just like that until death strikes, you know, and that would be cool.
Good for you. All right, let me turn now, take a break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about publishing and about this latest venture.
Please.
21.